everyone, welcome to today's video, which is the conspiracy theory edition. It is a fact that anyone over the age of 50 who dares to wear sparkly eyeshadow is doomed to roam the earth in a shriveled and lonely state, never to smile again. This stick, in my opinion, is the makeup equivalent of the iPhone in that Danessa has really thought about the user experience. So, there's a magnetic little kind of collar here, and they just kind of, the two ends slot in like this, and it also means that you can mix and match. However, what always puts me off mixing and matching, and I know Lisa Eldridge can let you sort of swap eyeshadow palettes in and out, I know Natasha lets you do that, and Danessa, Danessa can kind of encourage us to do that as well. But the thing is, I forget what everything is, but here's the thing. Look what she's done. We've got the label of every shade at the end of each side of the stick, which is fantastic. She has literally thought about how we would use them. So I could, for example, put two of the light foils that I'm particularly enjoying, click them into the metallic thingy what's it, and take it on holiday. But I've got other things to do than remember what shade my eyeshadow stick is, and certainly not just what shade, but which end of the eyeshadow stick shade kind of grouping it is. She's really thought about it. And she has thought about the fact that it is very, very user-friendly. You can swipe them on, you can tap them on. You have got a little bit of playtime. You haven't got a lot of playtime by any means. That's something I discovered when I was initially fiddling about with the first one that I bought, which was the 01. Which I kind of couldn't wait to sort of put on my eyelids. But you do have playtime. You can use a brush. She does like to talk about being finger forward. So in other words, you sort of dab it on and then just smush it with your finger if you want to. I don't like using my fingers. I'm just a bit funny about it. So a brush for me is kind of best, but I've been using one of my smaller Refers. This one's the Refer 13. I find they're sort of really easy to blend, to use to blend. It's over 50% water-based, I believe. You really get that cooling sensation on the lids. Now, I'm not that bothered about a cooling sensation. I know very often, brands like to do that with foundations and eyeshadows and so on. I don't really care. This one, there's something special about it because I think there's so much sparkle and shimmer. You kind of expect it to go on very slightly grainy. And not only does it not go on slightly grainy or gritty or anything like that, it's totally smooth, but the cooling sensation from the water actually, to me anyway, emphasizes it. So that's a really good thing. And there's one other thing I wanted to tell you is she talks about pro level results. No experience required. Honestly, that's like a tick, tick, tick for me because, I just want it to be easy. And especially with something like this, which is so portable, you want it to be quick. So, she has thought about it. She really has. There's also a comedic thing that goes on here in that they can kind of stick together. And that's quite fun because you kind of get to test gravity, which, physics really isn't my strong point, but Danessa has managed to make me think that physics is part of makeup as well, which I think is a win. Let's try them on now. So starting with duo number 1, on the left we have got Mystic Taupe, a taupe metallic with warm silvery shimmer, which you should be able to see. And next to it, look at that. Is that shiny or what? We've got Interstellar, which is a holographic foil with shifts of pink, silver and gold sparkle. Isn't that fantastic? It's so wet looking. And here's duo number 7 underneath. And we've got Magic Hour on the left, a burnt bronze metallic with gold sands shimmer. And then next to it, we've got Aurora Radiance, which is a foil, a holographic rustic metal foil with shifts of pink and gold sparkle. Oh my goodness, this may be slightly game-changing. I hate that phrase, but I think it may be. I don't remember ever having had this kind of experience with any kind of shadow stick, apart from annoyance, and these are not annoying. And finally, one of the 2 special shades on Danessa's own site, only available on her site, I should say, it's number 10. And on the left, you can see Shadow Eclipse, which is a dark olive metallic with a taupe shimmer. And then next to it, we have got Galaxy Crush, which is a sage green foil with a champagne sparkle. And there they all are. Glorious! absolutely glorious. I'm going to start with number 10, which is one of the 2 special shades that are only available on Danessa's website, and that's where I got them from. So I'm going to start with a little bit of tapping, because that's how I've seen Danessa do it, and I believe. And I'm going to use my brush just so I don't make it too dark, because of the 3 that I've got and that you've seen today, I bought the first one, which is 01, is it taupe? The one that's the taupey one. And what happened was I sort of couldn't wait to get my paws on it. I was not going to review these. I just bought one just to try it, you know. And I was kind of fiddling about with it, and I put it on my eyelids, not even bothering to read the instructions or watch anything or anything like that. All I'd seen was Danessa's kind of launch online on social media. I was so blown away that I then ordered another 2, again not thinking that I was going to, I'm going to use this one here now. Again, not thinking I was going to bother filming it. It was just going to be for my own personal private use. However, these are too good, and I just wanted to show them to you, because while you may well have seen them, you may well not have seen this one in action, and you may not have seen the others in action on somebody quite so mature. So, or as someone once told me, well, not once told me, they told me this about last week. Oh, you're like a camembert. Okay, basically squidgy and smelly. Okay, but you know, I kind of laughed girlishly, I hoped. Right, okay. So, okay. Bright enough? Is it bright enough for us? What do we think? Or do we think Danessa's been a bit stingy with the old sparkle? I don't think she's been stingy at all. Oh, it's lovely. Let's give it a little bit more. Why not? More is more. Oh, that's not good. Let's get that wiped away rather quickly. You know, when she says it's just right for beginners, maybe I'm even less than a beginner, like being in the very bottom set at school. Okay. I'm so sorry, my camera overheated. I thought I was filming and I wasn't. So I've done both eyes, but I haven't put the mascara on. But let me bring you a bit closer so that before I put the mascara on, you can see what's going on. Well, you might be able to see what's going on. That's if you're not dazzled by Danessa's pigments and Danessa's sparkle. You really shouldn't ever wear sparkly eyeshadow after the age of 55. Okay, I've put some mascara on. I have just opened one of these. I went through a couple of these. Was it last year or the year before? Can't remember. Clinique High Impact Mascara. This is one in black. I think it comes in brown, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But I do like it. Anyway, let's bring you closer. Okay. What do you think? I think it's very smile-inducing, which I think is kind of opposite, because whenever I watch anything with Danessa in, I can't help smiling. Her exuberance is utterly infectious. So I kind of feel I'm channeling her a bit. I can feel her exuberance. Why not? Good, isn't it? Let's go on to the next one. Let's start now with Duo number 7, which has got these really lovely metallic and foil bronzes right on my street. Now this could be, for me, a sort of a quick way of doing a bronzy look without having perhaps to use the Natasha Denona bronze palette, which I do really like. But this could be a space-saving option if it gives me the same glitz. Yeah, I think it's going to give at least the same glitz. And let's put a bit of the foil on, and then I can always use my trusty. I've got Shodo 02 here, but that's very quick. We'll see what that's like once we've got mascara on, but I suspect it'll be rather nice. Now, I haven't really gone to town on the foil. I can put a little bit more on, so let's do that. There's certainly a lot of dimension that we get with this. I mean, that's pretty easy, isn't it? I mean, you could probably do it in under a minute, couldn't you? And I'm not going to put anything else on underneath because I think it'll just be a bit too shimmery. I don't often say that. Let's go on to the next eye. And now on to Duo number 1. Remember this is the one that's sort of the taupey. Taupe, I mean, taupe kind of does it a bit of a disservice really, but it's certainly nice and cool and a real contrast to the bronze. Okay, so let's put the deepest shade. I'm just going to pat that quite carefully. They really blend quickly and easily. You've got to be quick. There's playtime, but there's not a lot of playtime. And they do feel cool, they really do. The bronze notwithstanding, but I can see with this one, you really can do a more subtle smoke if you want to. The bronze is very kind of, bronze. But with this one, I can see that you've got a little bit more subtlety if you want it. And certainly if you're happy to blend a little bit, but it's no hardship. And now onto this amazing foil. Gosh, you can definitely see that from the moon. So that's these two. I rather feel I'd like to put a little bit more of this foil on this one. What do you think? Let's just see whether we can make it a little bit more intense. Yeah, I think we should do it. In the words of Marvin Gaye, let's get it on. Okay, I'll put some mascara on and I'll be back. So I've put some mascara on. Let's bring you closer and you can have a look. Now, the one I'm going to show you first is the bronzy one, which is number 7. And see what you think. I've put some black brown Clinique mascara on. And here is 01, which is the more taupey one, the cooler one. You can see both now. Now what I will say is it hasn't made the crepiness worse and it hasn't gone into folds. Sometimes I get this even with just normal eyeshadow. It kind of goes into the folds and seems to accentuate them. But actually this is nice and smooth. I would say it's very mature skin friendly. And I mean proper mature, not someone who's 40. Proper wisdom. We're talking real wisdom here. So that's quite an achievement on behalf of Danessa for these kinds of colours. You really can see them from an interplanetary point of view, I think. Which one do you like? Do you like any of these? Which is your favourite? Let me know. Up until the release of these colour sticks, Danessa could do no wrong in my eyes. You know, from the eyeshadow palettes, from Groundworks, from her recent pastel, 6 palette, to a more recent kind of purchase, which is the blurring balm that I have in both the universal and the tinted. And I have been for a while a fan of her liquid, not liquid, the ones in the tube, the Colorfix in the tube. I really like those. I even like her little coloured pencils, which I've got in all sorts of colours, and I've only just recently bought the one that she calls Bronzite, which looks like that. And even then, even now, even with a bronze, Danessa puts her own special kind of mark on because it sort of shifts a little bit. There's a bit of blue in there, there's a bit of yellow. It's just great. So I was very nervous about these sticks because I just thought I really have to love them as much as I love everything else. And here's the thing, spoiler alert, I absolutely do. I've got 3 that I've demoed today that are really very different in terms of not just the look, but the kind of feel and the shades and the colour story. And all 3 of them are absolutely fantastic. And for me, really wearable. I don't know whether these are something that you're kind of tempted by, or whether, in a way they may seem a bit sort of over the top or a bit too theatrical. I kind of like that because I always tend to wear a kind of muted lip anyway. Plus I don't care. I think that's basically it. I don't care. So what? If people are looking at my eyeshadow, even if they're thinking she looks bananas, they're still looking, aren't they? Oh yes, they're still looking, so I still count it as a win. But let me know, have you bought one of these or more of these? Are you interested in the special shades? The other one that she's got is a kind of lilac-y shade, and the only reason I didn't go for that is I've had a lot of lilac and mauves recently, just in all sorts of incarnations as eyeshadow. So I kind of thought I'll go for something slightly different, although thinking about it, I've had an awful lot of green as well. I think I was just looking for an excuse to convince myself that I was being abstemious and careful. Honestly, I'm fooling nobody. But anyway, I'm just saying, is this something that you would be interested in? Or is it more the taupey shades? Or is it just all a little bit too much and you'd really rather have something that's a little bit more subtle? Because these are out there. I mean, I often think with highlighter, oh, can it be seen from the moon? This is, let me tell you, every alien out there can see these eyelids. Every single one, even the ones with just one eye in the middle of their little foreheads, they can see. So I think that's a good thing. I think it's a really aspirational thing to be seen by other galaxies. I really do. That's literally what I aspire to do, every single day. And I think you should too. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video.